That's interesting because the only other thing that's been leaping around in my world is probably, but someone asked me what my coming out story was. They were like, what was it like coming out for you? And then said, as an ally, or someone who has a bisexual leniency, not like a full-blown lesbianism.
I think, or I feel, or I know,
I'm vibing.
Let's go with your coming out story.
All right, well, I mean, my coming out story is terrible, so as long as you're ready.
You have brownies. Also, they're because it's gluten-free, it's very much like going to stick on your teeth situation. Like you've been eating ass that you know, like always shower first.
We don't kink shame. You're in charge of checking that I don't have shit in my teeth then.
It feels aggressive.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you think I'm aggressive
No.
as loud? So why is my voice not aggressive to you, but you being loud feels aggressive?
Well, let's try it and see if you feel attacked.
Okay. I think you're the only one who feels uncomfortable with this.
Thank you.
I mean, if you're gonna, like, there's a difference between projecting and yelling at me. Yeah, so why are you so funny about your voice being projected? And you said it's the couple of times it's come up. Why has it come up?
Well, it's come up. I'm working on another project that requires my voice.
Outrageous.
I know.
You're cheating on me already. We're 3 episodes in and you put it out everywhere.
I'm very aware of it, like, right now. So the fact that you're like, also, yeah, this little...
Yeah. Also, stop speaking so quietly.
Because that's just the kind of stupid shit that I do. I'm like, well, I can see there's an edge for growth here.
And you're getting up my ass about growth. Says you, who's now...
No, I was cheering you on.
Oh, you're the one putting yourself in those situations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always.
I don't. I just end up finding myself in that situation and going, oh, well, fuck it, all right.
Of course this is where we are.
Of course this is what's going to happen now.
I know. It's like an addiction. I'm like, that feels uncomfortable.
Here I go.
I'm gonna hate this.
I'm gonna fucking hate this.
But clearly my dopamine is so low that I've got to push myself to extreme.
Or you're so numb to everything that you have to like look for the most extreme ways to make yourself feel uncomfortable.
I'm alive.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this feels terrible.
Glad I'm not a human.
What?
Don't know.
Okay, cool. I think, after I got asked about it, I was ruminating on it a lot because I think there's a stark difference between like my experience even in the 90s and early 2000s versus like now. I got asked about it, and then one thing that was prompted by it is one of my abusers was my stepfather, and he may have passed into palliative care like at the start of last week. So I don't know whether he's passed or not, but like, I'm really sad about this. And I realised I was really sad because I didn't get to come out. I was outed. That night I thought I was going to die, and he was the only one who didn't care. Like, he was like, I don't think it's such a big deal. And I'm just like... And so it was before and after that he was still physically abusing me. But in that moment, like, he was literally the only person who didn't really care. I look back and I'm like, I think he may have also enjoyed the idea of lesbians, so it might have been a factor. But I also have nothing to base that on. Like, that's just, it's either that or like his guilt of the way he was treating me. He was like, oh, this is something I can easily be positive about because I don't really care. Because I'm not sure that he was a bad person. So he was 10 years older than my mum. He was like in his 50s when he was an old man already. And I don't think he had any idea how to handle someone as neurodiverse and just diverse as a person as me. He really wanted to have a family and have a kid. And then he took on a woman with stepchildren. The other two moved, like my brother and sister moved in with our dad. I didn't. So I was the last one left at home because I didn't want to leave my littlest brother. I was like, well, if 2 of them are going over there, I've got to stay with this one. I'm staying with my younger brother. If you 2 are going, if one of you's staying, I'll go. Like, we just need to split it down the middle. And also he apologised when I was 18, 19-ish. He apologised. None of it makes it okay, but I just don't think it came from him hating me, you know? My mum hated me, but I just don't think it came from him hating me. I just don't think he had any idea. And he was repeating cycles. When I was outed, he just didn't have a problem. And I clung to that with unbreakable passion. Like, to the point where both my younger brothers are like, I don't understand why you don't hate him, why you don't hold any ill intent. And I was like, because I've let it go. I said, like, I went through that process, but I think I didn't have anyone else. And so the only person who actually was there was him. Because my grandparents were missionaries. My mum built churches down south. I grew up in the church. It's all I really knew. And when my stepfather did start being abusive, I told one of the ladies in the church, because you're supposed to tell someone to help you, and they told me I was lying and covered it up. My mum also told me that she didn't know, which I look back and I'm like, you were sitting there when he apologised. What did you think he was apologising about? I was like, you can't have not known. There was a lock on the outside of my door to lock me into my bedroom. How did you, what did you think that was for? I don't know. I'm never going to get an answer, I don't think. So I just, there's not enough to convince me, and I just don't care now. I'm like, even if you didn't do anything about it, so it actually doesn't matter. I kind of ended up far too young. Ended up in a sexual relationship with the music pastor's daughter, and she's just a lovely girl. She just was, still is. Her mum is the one I regret hurting in all of the situation. Her mum was... When I told her in my mid-20s, I told her about what was happening with my stepfather and that the other person had kept quiet. I later found out that she left that house, went over, because there was 3 of them. So there was the music pastor, children's pastor, and my mum. The music pastor had 2 daughters and a son, but he was much older and didn't spend as much time with us. And then the children's pastor had 2 girls, and we all grew up together. All of us just grew up together. When the music pastor found out, she drove all the way over to the other ones and just let rip that she didn't do anything about it. I don't know what happened, but I just know that had occurred. So I really valued her. I still do. I think she's a wonderful woman. She believed in her religion, but I think she was a person, a proper person.
Didn't hide behind it.
Yeah, and I think because realistically, out of all of it, she's the one who was hurt the worst. Oh, that's outside of my mum's reputation, obviously. But I was far too young in this sort of blossoming relationship with this girl, and I had a best friend at my Christian school I went to. We're all at that age where you experimenting, but this other layer of religion to create a lot of shame. Then there was 2 situations. The first one, we were at this church camp, and there was this girl who confessed to me that she had slept with her brother. Right? Oh. But then when I said I'd slept with a girl, I was the problem.
Wow. Okay.
I was the one who got my ass fucking handed to me. Right? Oh, God. I was like, and why didn't I say something? Why didn't I be like, I'm not the one sleeping with... Anyway, it's not my story to tell. So my best friend at the time in year 7, looking back, there is, because of dissociation, there are so many areas that I just don't have understanding of, time, because I just blacked out for so long of the time, but they're just clear little snippets where I'm like, I actively remember that very clearly.
Yeah.
We were over at her house, and I said to... She was like, oh, I'd like to kiss you. And I'm like, I'm with someone else, right? I really like this girl. Thank you, but no thank you. The next day, she told her mum, and her mum told everyone, including my mum. And so I came home from school, and my mum fucking kicked off. And she just left. She's like, I'm not being around you, blah, 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 blah. You can't stay here anymore. So she's like, you can't live here. Left me at home with my stepfather. And I'm like, this is the night I die. I was like, this is the moment that I'm going to die. He's going to beat shit through me until I can't. This is it. All right, thanks. I had a good 14 years or whatever it was. But then he sat there and he goes, I don't see what the big deal is. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay. And then we just kind of sat there in silence and watched TV. It was weird. It was so weird. But he was the only one.
Plot twist.
Yeah, fucking did not see it coming, right? Absolute plot twist. Because usually it predominantly happened when mum wasn't there. And mum's like, you can't live here and I'm going until you're gone, right? I told you, she fucking hated me and still does, right? She's like, I'm not staying here. I don't remember where it fell. I think it was just before this is when she wrote me the letter. Or it was around about the same time. It could have been into... I do have a photo, but I think I burnt it as part of a letting go. But she wrote me this letter, and the letter said, every time you tell me you love me, it makes my skin crawl. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well... All right, cool. So she was done. So I ended up not having anywhere to go. So I was on the streets trying to find somewhere to go. One of the teachers I got expelled. So the next, like I was back at school, the mum of my best friend at the time had told everybody, I don't know, dean or the counsellor, I don't know what position he held. He was a teacher as well. He took me into his office, and I remember it being right at the end of like the undercover area. It had like a little raised bit with the school the classes up there, and then there was like his office at the end. And he took me in there, and he's like, "You fucking stop it, or you're gone. Like you cannot come to this school." And I'm like, I can't. Like I can't. Like I've never been attracted to men, not once, right? And I really like this girl, and also I was puppy love, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, puppy love. Also, only person who's nice to me, right? Only person who's nice to me. Ended up getting a boyfriend because we were secret. Ended up getting a boyfriend and moving on anyway. But yeah, so he was like, all right, well, you're done. You're like, you can't come back to school. So then I had to move to a public school, which being in the 30,000 person town of Albany before it was even a city, everybody knew me before I was there. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's this gay kid who's coming to school because she got kicked out of her school because she was hitting on the girls. So you think I could find a friend? Man, shit. But I was probably about 2 weeks where I didn't really have anywhere to go. Then this teacher, who I still very, very much value. There were 2 teachers who I thought did an amazing job, but one of them offered me a place. I didn't stay there for very long. I felt like an inconvenience. Mm-hmm. I should have stayed longer. Yeah. I should have accepted the help, but I didn't. I didn't accept the help. I felt too embarrassed. I stayed at one of the youth hostel thingies that you could just kind of find a bunk in and then I was out of home for a little while, and I'm like, this is really hard. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go and try and be straight. So I was like, Mum, can I please move back in? I'm gonna be back in love with the Lord Jesus Christ, you know. And then as soon as I finished year 12, I'd gotten a girlfriend. So in that time, my first one, then I had a second one who was like my first, I fell in love with that girl. Like, I was obsessed with her, unhealthily so. She chose Jesus over me. She came back from she was Mormon, but she came back from a Mormon church camp, and she was like inspired by her relationship with Christ. So she left me, and then I had then I got another girlfriend who then it was just my best friend. And then she left, she cheated on me with our male housemate. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll try being straight. So 2 things happened in this time as well. So I tried being straight 3 times. First one, just a lovely nerdy boy for absolute appearances. Don't even think I spent more than 5 minutes with him, right? If I could say I had a boyfriend, then at least people would probably stop looking at me, right? Mm-hmm. And then I look back and I'm like, so out of the 3 sexual experiences that I had, I'm very lucky that only one of them ended up in SA. So one of them ended up in SA because they didn't listen. Not as bad, like not the worst kind of SA experience you can have. Mm. No, sorry, there was 4. That one had nothing to do with sex. I don't even think I kissed him. It was just about appearances. Mm-hmm. But then it was guys who I was SA'd by who, in my mind, I went, all right, well, also didn't listen. So didn't show a lot of respect, really not interested in what was happening as well, kind of reinforcing that I kind of enjoy women's company. Mm-hmm. Looking back, I was like 15 or something, like 14 or 15, and we were traveling around Australia, and I had this moment where I was like, I reckon he might have been in his mid-20s. Oh, fuck. Mm. But I also don't know. Like, I can't remember properly, and I was by myself. I'm so fucking lucky. So there was a pool in the middle of the Nullarbor, like staying somewhere. It was a guy, and I remember him being quite attractive, and he was in a pool, and he was like trying to hook up, and I was like, oh no, thank you. So I just kind of gave him a handy, and then I don't even know if I finished it, but I just left because I wasn't really interested, and he didn't put any pressure on me. Like when I said no, he was like, oh, well, we can do this, and I was like, all right. And I may have even gone, I don't want to do this either, and then left, and no pressure. And I look back and I'm like, potentially no pressure because I was 15, and if he'd put pressure on, it would have been a problem. But also I can't remember. He may have been like 17, 18. I can't remember. Either way, he was older. I was like, okay, so not all men don't listen. There are men that will listen, whether or not for the right reason. I'm going to be straight. I can do this, blah, 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 blah. And then to try and get away from the gay influence, they sent me to their sister church up in Broome.
Mm-hmm. Oopsie daisy.
Yeah, which was where I met Christy. I was shipped up to Broome and I was put into Bible college, which I'm now looking at it going, I was in a fucking cult. But anyway, I went up there studying at Bible college to be a youth pastor, working alongside a man. He was my mentor. I was also doing unpaid labour at the church because I was doing it through them, sponsored through them, right? So I was working at the church. I was living in a tent because I was homeless up there as well. I've been homeless twice, right? I moved up when I was 17. I wasn't even old enough to get on a lease. I was working at the church, I was studying at the church, working underneath Stuart's guidance, and then met Christy, and we became really close because I was already working with her husband. And we got really, really close, and she was like my best friend. She was just real. Like, I'd grown up with so many people, especially in the church, and I remember being at like Christmas choir with her because we were on the choir together. I know.
Sorry. That just brought me joy thinking about that.
Yeah. But it was the Christmas one. So like every year they held the Carols by Candlelight.
Who doesn't love Carols by Candlelight?
Right?
Seriously.
And also I was a musician on the church music team. So I played drums and bass, and Christy was a singer. So it got to the point where I'm standing on stage during a Sunday service and I'm playing the bass, and I'm looking at Christy who's singing out to the crowd, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
White noise.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. A couple of weeks before that, we were at Bible study and we were watching this video about saving yourself for your husband. And I was watching, I was engaging, I was paying attention, and I was looking at it, and I'm just like, fucking hell, she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And then the girl next to me, she goes, oh my God, how hot is he? And I went, oh, there's a man on the screen. Okay. All right, I don't know if I can run away from this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even realise there was a man on the screen.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realise until she kind of pulled me back, because I was just like, wow, she's beautiful. Next minute, this person's like, oh, they're hot. And I'm like, oh, it's a man. Okay, cool. I'm supposed to be attracted to the man. And I just didn't even realise that they existed on the screen. Great. Then I was like, oh no, I think I really like Christy. I was 18, so it was legal. She went away and I missed her so much. Hated that I didn't see her for those couple of weeks. We'd just gone, I think there might be something here. And then that was it. She went and told an elder of the church that she was experiencing these feelings. They told everyone.
What is with people in the church not keeping fucking confidentiality?
100%.
Yeah.
It was like a week later. And let me preface this. The kid's dad is a good man. He's a good father. We co-parented great. Exactly a week after their divorce was finalised, he married Christy's ex-best friend. So...
okay.
swings and roundabouts. There's a whole more lot going on. There's layers. Yeah. And he's so happy. Well, from all accounts, obviously, he's been with his wife for a long time. And the church found out up there. She told everyone I was excommunicated. I lost my job at the church, and they were the reason I was housed, which then I had to find other housing. And then at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I don't know. It was dark. At night, the pastor asked me to come to the church and brought me into the office space where I opened the door and Stuart was. So he'd asked Stuart to come meet him. I'm looking back going, what the fuck? I walked in and the pastor was like, thank you for coming. The pastor's wife was sitting outside, didn't come in, just left me to be taken in. He's like, you need to pay penance to the husband. Nothing had fucking happened. Literally, we've gone, reckon we might have some feeling, right? And now I have to pay penance to this man because apparently I've ruined their life. Mm-hmm. I can't remember anything until the end. I don't know what happened. I assumed... Yeah, I'm also 5'6". The pastor's 5'10". Stuart's 6'2". I'm an 18-year-old girl. And I'm like standing there, and he was allowed to say how much I hurt him and how much I damaged the relationship. And then Pastor Pete gets up and goes, you go and hug him. And I remember bawling my eyes out and him grabbing my arms and putting them around Stuart. I vaguely remember Stuart being as uncomfortable as me. Remember Stuart being like, oh, I don't know if we're crossing a line here. Like, because obviously he's hurt. Like, he's like, yeah, I want to be able to express how I feel, that this has really put a problem on my relationship with my wife. And then he's like, you need to hug him. And I think Stuart was like, oh, mate.
Does she though?
Does she? I don't know if she does. Either way, he grabbed my arms and put it around. And I remember just falling apart after that. Like, I was so fucking scared. I was so traumatized because they'd also just, before that, the other church, I remember getting an exorcism. And the only bit I remember about that to try and pray the gay away was I remember being against one of the white walls because there was warm sun coming from the window. And the male pastor of that church bending over me screaming at the gay demon in me while I was like curled up on the floor, just like trying to get away from the exorcism while they were screaming at the demon. And I remember that. And then with the pastor in Broome, all I remember is him like, oh, you will give him a hug, you will say sorry, you beg for his forgiveness, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. But I had a massive panic attack as I was riding home. Luckily, at the time, Christy's best friend from Perth checked in on me because Christy wasn't allowed to. Everything she was doing was monitored. Her phone, her internet connection. I know. It's outrageous. Not long after the forced cuddle, Christy rocked up on my doorstep with a suitcase. I don't know whether it was his decision. His parents had come up, taken the kids, signed the lease over of the house and left. All of them left. Christy had a suitcase outside, came home from work, nothing, couldn't get in. It was just a suitcase of her vinyls and some clothes. That was after we had gone, I think I've got some feelings for you. She was on my doorstep of the newly acquired house that I had with a suitcase going, I've actually got nowhere else to go. And I went, well, I guess you gotta come in here. A little bit later on, Christy's like, I've got to go to Perth, I've got to go follow the kids. And I went, okay, and went with her. I didn't have to, and my littlest brother goes, I've always wondered why you did it, and I'm like, I don't know, just she's what I loved her. I still do love her. I'm still very in love with her. I didn't think about it. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just having a moment.
Are you? What's wrong?
No, I'm just like,
oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
This is why I don't talk.
I was just being very human.
Yeah.
And hoping that you weren't going to freak out about my humanness.
No. It's fucked. You know how I said I was a robot? The abuse was so bad. If Jesus was here, why isn't he looking after me? Like, why isn't he helping? Because we had bunk beds. And I know it happened irregularly, frequently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Over a 4-year period, it might have happened more in 2 years and then like a handful of others. I don't remember. We had bunk bed. My sister and I had bunk beds, and he'd hold on to the top rail of the bunk bed and just like boot into where my bed was. And he'd just lock me in there with the lock on the outside. And so I'd just be stuck in there. I remember one day, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I can't be straight. Like, I can't be straight. Like, I can't stop liking women. I keep pissing off everybody I know. My mum fucking hates me. My stepdad hates me. The church hates me. And I did what you're supposed to do. I reached out to people. Like, I reached out to people that I trusted. You're supposed to do that. And so I did attempt to unalive myself. I remember the door being unlocked and mum walking in, and she laughed and she goes, you're going to end up in G ward, girl. And then just called an ambulance and let them take me. And I remember lying in the hospital, and I'm lying in the hospital looking at the wall, and I'm just like, you can't even get that right. Like, in my head, I'm like, you can't even fucking get that right. Like, I've woken up in hospital, I couldn't even do this right. And then the robot in me went, all right, well, I've got to try something else then. Like, I'm like, well, you didn't, obviously this wasn't supposed to happen because you didn't do it successfully. You got to try something else. And so I moved. I look back at it and I'm like, it's a good thing, but it's so stupidly robotic. Like, all right, well, I tried to unalive myself, that failed, so I'll just try something else. Like, I kind of just went, well, I've got to try hope, I guess. Like, I just got to try hope that it's got to get better. And it wasn't in Broome. Well, I mean, it was in ways. Because then Christy and I had to move. We got stuck in the desert. She was working at Woolies. I was working at Macca's. Yeah. And I was 18, 19. I was getting like $20 an hour. Like, and renting, it was hard. Like, it was really hard. We saved up all our money, bought a car, because we didn't have a car. I had a scooter. When we had to buy groceries, I had to leave Christy there with the groceries, take one lot home on my scooter, then go back and pick her up and the groceries and take them home. We walked to work. We saved up money, we got a car, and we started driving. We packed up everything in the house, filled the car and started driving. Got about 8.5 hours outside of Broome into the desert. It was 52 degrees on the road. It was one of the hottest days. Our car blew up in the middle of the desert. Fucking hell. Me being the one who keeps the cool in situations, I had to drive back to Roebuck and back to Broome at about 30 kilometres an hour because our radiator... I also got out of the car without thongs on, so my feet ended up getting cut and burnt from the bitumen. Opened up the thing, went to grab the radiator with a rag. It exploded, so I went like this, and it cut. My hands were all burnt from the steam and the hot water.
Yeah.
So I had to leave it slightly open with the hood slightly up so that we could get back into Roebuck. We'd left at like 6 in the morning. We'd gotten that far out. We didn't get back into Broome until... But somewhere between, we got to Roebuck at like 8 o'clock where we could make a phone call, and then we got to Broome at like 10 o'clock, like after we'd gotten... And then we had nowhere to go because we didn't have a place to stay. Macca's actually ended up helping me so much, but it's because of the licensee. And I will always be grateful for that man. He was insane. He was insanely generous. He was out of town and had one of his people house sitting his house. We went and crashed on their couch because while we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. We went to try and get plane tickets, which was wiping out our savings that we were using for a bond to get a house in Perth. And then they were like, we have our entire life in boxes. So we went down to the park because we had to leave the house. We went down to the park and had to cull all our stuff so that we could get it into 4 suitcases or whatever to get on a plane. And then they said to us, we got there and they're like, that's $1,200 in excess baggage. And I'm like, fuck. Then one of the people I'd worked with at Macca's now worked at the airport, waived all of it. So we were able to get to Perth. And so then we slept on couches for a while until we saved up enough money to get a bond to get our own place. And then that's where we kind of just started trying to rebuild, which was, it was an insane beginning. Like mum, we were getting married. Like we decided, we were together 4 years before we got, said that we were going to have a commitment ceremony. My mum was refusing to be a part of it. So refused to be a part of it, which is fine. And then was refusing to let my youngest brother, because my youngest brother is 10 years younger than me, so they were refusing to let him be a part of it. So he would have been like 15-ish, and I wanted him to be a part of it. But eventually, this is what mum said, but apparently mum was like, I realised that it wasn't worth losing the relationship with you over, with me, and so brought my youngest brother up. And he was wearing a suit even though he couldn't be involved because mum hadn't let him be involved. I was so happy. I love him. I love my younger brother very much. I don't know whether that's true. I don't know. We'd go to Christmas parties and my auntie would refuse to acknowledge Christy existed. Talk over her. Christy'd start talking at the Christmas table and she'd just start talking. But yeah, the coming out, it was really shit. Coming out, I didn't even get to come out. It was really shit. I just don't think it would happen as much anymore. Mm-hmm. I graduated in 2005, so... Because I was also bullied when I went to the new school when they found out. And I did the right thing. I told the teacher. So it was a group of maybe a year younger than me and max. They would follow me around and throw rocks at me and shit, right? And I told the teacher, I'm like, this is getting out of hand. Mm-hmm. You guys need to help me.
Do something.
Please do something. And then they didn't. One of them tried to branch out on their own because I was walking across where the lockers were. Mm. And because there's only one of them, I lost my shit. I turned around and I slammed him against, I slammed him against the lockers. Because he threw a rock at me and threw rocks at me again and cut up my forehead. I was bleeding down my arm and I smashed him up against the thing. He's got blood splattered over his face from my head wound. Oh, fucking hell. And I'm just I was like, leave me alone. And then I just walked straight to the principal's office and I was like, I've just beat shit out of that kid because of this, because you fuckers wouldn't do anything. And then the next day the kid was suspended. I was like, why did I have to get to this? Why did I have to get to this? I was telling you, I was trying to do the right thing, but I didn't get in trouble. Yeah. But I went and told him straight away. I didn't go back to class. I was like, well, I just beat up someone and I'm fucking bleeding everywhere. I'm going to have to go to the principal and tell him what I did. So I just walked in there and I'm like, you guys needed to help me. This happened. Yeah. But yeah, it was fucked. It was just 7 levels of fucked. I have a problem with organised religion.
I think it's anywhere that isn't inclusive.
Yeah.
Anything that projects shame onto you for just being who you are. And I think religion does a really big job of that, but also not just religion. All sorts of organised groups in general. Religion, big tick for probably being the umbrella for that. But yeah, well, that like I said, that's my sunshine and rainbow coming out story. Well, fuck. I've been sober for a long time and I feel like...
And this is where I said to you, and this is why I can say it so genuinely, my objectivity and my naivety around, objectivity and just being a bit of a robot. I'm tried being straight, didn't work. Tried unaliving myself, didn't work. Tried doing this, didn't work. So I just kept trying.
Yeah.
Right?
The survival in you is strong.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, well, that didn't work. In my mind, I didn't go, we'll go back and try again. It's weird. I just didn't go, well, it felt like, I guess resourcefulness because of like very deeply poor. I would make sure that my brothers and sisters had sandwiches. Like what I would take to school would be 4 fruit snacks, like 4 bars of fruit snacks to eat for the whole day. Like we were so poor. Like we got the packets of 6 assorted cereals of like Frosty Flakes.
Yeah.
That was our Christmas present. And we were ecstatic.
Little baby boxes of cereal are very exciting.
They're dope.
Like, that's joy.
That is. I didn't know we were poor because there was stuff. Mum always had stuff. And as I've gotten older and started psychology, I know that is a narcissistic tendency to produce grandeur, right? And hide it. Yeah. So she always had the jewellery, right? All the jewellery, the gold jewellery and like fucking stuff everywhere. Like there'd be that wall, but everything would be chock-a-block. Like china cabinets full of stuff to show.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise as much, but not in the positive way. Like I knew that we weren't as well off as my friends, but I didn't really understand how bad we were off. So not only was I the weird kid who was gay, but I was extremely poor, very poorly dressed. But yeah, like I was saying, like everything was going on, and then the man who was beating shit out of me was the only person who didn't tell me I was going to hell and gross. So then when I found out he was passing away, I was like, I didn't realise how much I'd like holding on to that. Because there's like, if that hadn't happened and Mum hadn't cared about the way I presented, she didn't care about me at all, which meant that she didn't care about what I did, like, and how I presented. So I didn't have that shame around being a tomboy.
Yeah.
So I didn't have dysmorphia in that sort of sense. Like I longed to be more feminine. I didn't want to wear a dress to her wedding. And she goes, okay, don't. Everyone else was like, she should have to wear a dress, like blah, blah. And Mum's like, I don't care.
But she literally just...
Because she literally didn't care. But in the moment, I'm like, yeah, motherfuckers, I'm going to wear a suit. My mum doesn't care, so I'm not going to care, right? Like,
yeah.
And I look back and I'm like, those moments, whilst like they were fun, I don't know if I would have survived without those moments. So I clung to it so hard, and then when I found out that he was passing, I was like, I don't reckon I would have survived without him. I reckon I would have survived far better without him. But it's like, if he hadn't have been there, I don't reckon I would, like, he was the only reason I felt safe to go home, which is so weird because it was also the place that I didn't feel safe. So like, I knew that he was going to beat shit through me, but at least he didn't hate me.
But that was a level of safety in knowing what you knew.
Yep. And he wasn't going to, he didn't sit there and shame me. Like my mum would shame me a lot for those things and talk about how much it hurt her and all that sort of stuff. He didn't. He'd beat the shit through me, but he wouldn't belittle me. So it was this bizarre situation that, like, as an adult, I'm like, I don't even know if I can get my head around it. But that's what I grew up in. That's all I knew. I don't know. It's so bizarre. Yeah, because I knew it was a completely unsafe environment. I knew I was going to get hurt. But at least if I was around him, I wasn't wrong. Because I was wrong. I was broken. Because the exorcism didn't work, initially. Like, there was something wrong with me, but at least my physical abuser didn't think so. Fucking hell. I wish I could, I just don't know. He always asks about me. He always asks my brother how I'm doing. Because that's what I just think he was completely ill-prepared.
Wow.
And I would be disappointed if he didn't, which is weird. I like that he had asked.
Because he cares.
Because he cared. Which is why I genuinely believe that with an apology from a man that was born in the 40s, like a genuine apology with like heartfelt tears, I just think he was ill-prepared, led by the wrong people. I can only imagine how someone who is not the smartest, doesn't have emotional intelligence, who was taught the way that he was taught to deal with people from his parents. I think he just fucked it up. He gave it a punt and royally fucked it up.
And having an understanding doesn't excuse behaviours.
Oh, absolutely not.
But it gives an understanding.
It gives an understanding.
Like, in something that makes no sense.
Yeah.
For you to just be okay.